This video will cover how to multiply and divide numbers that are in scientific notation. Now, to begin, we need to remember the associative and commutative property of multiplication. The associative property allows you to put or remove parentheses as long as the numbers are being multiplied, and the commutative property allows you to move terms around. So, we're going to start by removing the parentheses for this problem. So we're going to rewrite this as 3.1 times 10 to the third power times 4.8 times 10 to the second power. Now, we did that to be able to regroup the terms that are alike. Now, they are all numbers, but some are in the power of 10 and the other ones are just regular rational numbers. So I'm going to put the power of 10 together and I'm going to put it to the right side. So we have 10 to the third power times 10 to the second power. You can see that the 10 to the third power comes from here and the 10 to the second power comes from here. The next thing that we're going to do is rewrite the other two terms, 3.1 times 4.8, and all this is being multiplied. I am actually going to add parentheses again so you see how the numbers relate. So we're going to be dealing with two different groups. The first thing that we're going to do is multiply 3.1 times 4.8. Please feel free to pause at any time to make sure that you're taking accurate notes. Okay, so 3.1 times 4.8, when you multiply that out, you actually get 14.88 times, we still have 10 to the third power times 10 to the second power. Now we already know that 10 to the third power times 10 to the second power, when we're dealing with exponents with the same base, we just add the exponents. So we're going to rewrite this as 10 to the fifth power, because 3 plus 2 gives you 5. Now, this number is not in scientific notation, okay? This number is not in scientific notation, and we're trying to get it to scientific notation. Remember that scientific notation means that you have a number between 1 and 10. It can be equal to 1, but it cannot be 10. Now we need to move this decimal place one time. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to change this number to scientific notation, and that will give me 1.488 times 10 to the first power times 10 to the fifth power. Now we're going to once again add the exponents, and you get 1.488 times 10 to the sixth power. And now you're done. This is when you have two numbers that have a positive exponent. Now let's look at another example. We have 2.6 times 10 to the fifth power times 3.8 times 10 to the negative third power. Now in this case we have a positive and a negative exponent. So one more time, I'm going to remove the parentheses. Just write it as 2.6 times 10 to the fifth power times 3.8 times 10 to the negative third power. Now using the commutative property, I am going to move my rational numbers and my powers of 10 So the only thing we did is change that order. So we have a 2.6 and we have a 2.6 here. We have a 3.8 and we have a 3.8 here. We have a 10 to the fifth power that comes from here, and 10 to the negative third power that comes from here. Now, what we're going to do is multiply 2.6 times 3.8. And when you multiply those two numbers out, you get 9.88 times 10 to the fifth times 10 to the negative third power. Now that you have that down, what we're going to do is add the exponents. And we have 5 plus negative 3. That is the same thing as saying 5 minus 3. So 5 minus 3 is going to give you 2. Now, let's pay attention to the first number. In this number, we have 9.88. This number is between 1 and 10. So this actually is in scientific notation. So we end right there. Now we're going to be working with division of numbers that have positive exponents. So the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite it as a fraction. So I'm going to write it as 5.05 times 10 to the third power divided by 5.05 times 10 to the second power. Okay, now that we have it like this, I'm actually going to split these two fractions. So I'm actually going to rewrite it as 5.05 over 5.05 times 10 to the third power divided by 10 to the second power. Now, you know that 5.05 divided by 5.05 is 1 because everything divided by itself is 1. And the only thing that we need to deal with now is 10 to the third power divided by 10 to the second power. Going back to the properties of integer exponents, we know that whenever you're dividing, you're going to be subtracting the exponents. So we're going to write 10 to the third power minus 2, and that will give us 1 times 10 to the first power, and that will be your answer. Now we're going to be working with a problem that has a positive exponent and a negative exponent, and once again we're going to be dividing. For this problem, we're going to once again write it as a fraction, 3.6 times 10 to the fifth power divided by 4 times 10 to the negative second power. Now, we're going to split it once again. We're going to put 3.6 divided by 4 times 10 to the fifth divided by 10 to the negative second. If you'd like to see the proof of why you're able to divide the fraction, you can ask Ms. Guerrero or myself, and we can actually go over that with you. Now, we're going to do 3.6 divided by 4, and for that you're actually going to be required to use long division. So in your paper, you should actually show long division. Make sure that you always show your work. For this problem, remember the in and out strategy. So 3.6 is in and the 4 is out. I won't go over that. I expect you to know how to do it, or at least ask for help in case you don't know how to do it. Now, this will give you 0.9 times, again, we have 10 to the fifth power divided by 10 to the negative second power. In this case, we're going to subtract the exponents. So 5 minus, and now we have negative 2. When you have a double negative, we do the 2 strokes. Now we have 0.9 times 10 to the 7th power. Now, one of the issues that we have here is that that number is not in scientific notation because 0.9 is not larger than 1 or equal to 1. So what we're going to do in this case, we're going to change that into scientific notation. So let's change only 0.9 to scientific notation, and we get 9 times 10 to the negative first power times 10 to the 7th power. Okay. Once again, this number just came from 0.9 when we change it to scientific notation. We're going to combine the powers of 10, and that will be your answer. 9 times 10 to the 6th power.